The film opens with the montages of a beautiful mother-daughter duo. Grace is a single mother who's raising a 6-year-old daughter, Lisa, on the outskirts of Seoul, South Korea. In the beginning, the mother duo look like the happiest and most perfect family. But as Grace checks Lisa's height every now and then, she appears to be shrinking, becoming shorter every time. It's then revealed that the little girl is aging backward. Because of this, Grace gives her all her time and herself to her daughter, dreading the day Lisa will just disappear as she gradually gets younger. 6 years have passed, and Lisa becomes a fetus inside Grace's belly. Grace knows she has only 9 months to live with Lisa, as she knows that her pregnancy will soon be reversed. The movie then rewinds to the past. Lisa and Grace are the perfect family, but a tragedy occurs when one day her daughter gets murdered by a psychopath on her school trip. This leaves Grace's world upside down. However, deemed as mentally insane, the murderer gets hospitalized to an asylum instead of getting a lifetime of imprisonment. So Grace tries to protest against this, but she doesn't receive justice. The next day, she gets scolded by her boss for drawing negative attention to his business with her protest and ends up firing her. That led her to a group of depressed individuals online who have decided to overdose and plan to take away their lives together. Thinking that murdering herself is the only way to end her suffering, she agrees to join them. Grace visits her daughter's grave, where she puts some memorable pictures along with a diary and some flowers on top of it. She then hits the road to meet the online group. After looking for hours, Grace finally meets Park, a group member, in the parking lot. Soon, all the members gather around and leave for a small cottage in the woods where they will take their lives. On their way, the entire group sit quietly in the car and hear the news on the radio, where a strange meteor shower had been reported near their area. That night, the group distribute out their sleeping pills and swallow it. A girl named Suna has trouble swallowing her pills, so Grace says to crush them first, and she too successfully eats the pills. Now that night, Suna wakes up suffocating and starts vomiting. Not long after, one after another, everyone gets into the same condition, indicating that their plan had worked. The scene then shifts to a hospital, where Grace finds herself beside Park and Suna on hospital beds. Due to her weak condition, she watches that everyone in the group had passed away. As she tries to speak out, she then also passes away. But strangely, Grace wakes up on her bed at home. She's confused because she remembers everything from last night, and yet she's somehow back in her home. She checks her phone and sees the date, leaving her shocked because it's supposed to be August 16th and now it is somehow the 15th. Naturally, she thinks that she must have had a bad dream. So, still wanting to proceed on, she does exactly what she did the last time. She goes and meets the group, and at night she crushes those pills for Suna. This leaves Suna confused, as she hadn't even asked for help yet, but somehow Grace knew that she needed it, which indicates that Grace is the only one who remembers everything. Just like before, Grace watches everyone pass away like she did last night. Suddenly, the clock hits 12, and her day reverses from the 15th to the 14th, a day even earlier than before. This leaves Grace all confused, so she goes to her psychic sister, asking about what's been happening to her. There it's revealed that Grace is somehow aging backward. This makes Grace happy because now she can use the knowledge of her future days to live out her past days. This gave Grace newfound hope, as she might be able to save her daughter the day she was murdered. In the next scenes, we see Grace going through her life, day by day in reverse, until she reaches that day she had protested against the mentally ill murderer. Unable to let go of her hatred, she decides to find that man who caused her so much pain. Before midnight, she disguises herself and enters the old man's room. She tries choking this guy, but his son opens the door and sees her suffocating his father. Grace is beyond shocked to see that the old man's son is Park, the group member she was going to meet in the future. Fearing he might recognize her, Grace runs away, leaving Park thinking he had seen Grace somewhere before. Soon, Grace reaches the day of her daughter's funeral. Unlike the last time, she appears to be happy since she'll get to see her daughter again and get another chance to spend time with her. She plays piano and awaits the next day. The following day, Grace remembers sending her daughter on a school trip with her class. So she immediately leaves in her car and heads to the resort where the children are staying with their teachers. As she's on her way, she calls Lisa's class teacher to tell her to keep an eye on Lisa and also tell her that she's on her way to pick her up. Grace also calls the cops and tells them about a mentally disabled person who's after her daughter. She gives them the location and asks him to be there. Somewhere else, this old man's seen treated poorly by his son, who's Park. It's revealed that Park had grown tired of his mentally ill father David after so many years of living with him. He blames the old man for ruining his life. Park then asks David to come back inside, but he doesn't. So Park puts on a giant lock on the main door of their house. Unable to get inside now, the old man sneaks out, but just then Lisa does so too when her teacher dozes off. Lisa then bumps into David and befriends him after noticing his behavior's like a child too. Not long after, David decides to take her to a farm to collect some eggs, saying he needs them for his son. When they get back to the resort, Lisa accidentally drops some eggs in the pool. David jumps in the pool to get those eggs out. Lisa follows and jumps in too, but she starts drowning instead. David tries to help Lisa, but because of his old age, he has trouble carrying her out. Just then, a policeman shows up by the poolside on Grace's call. Grace also shows up at the resort and runs to the pool. When she gets there, she sees her daughter had been saved. Grace hugs her and has the policeman arrest the old man for trying to drown her. But Lisa tells everyone that the old man didn't harm her and instead was trying to save her. This is when Grace realizes she'd been angry at this old man for nothing and had mistaken him. In the next scene, Park arrives at the hospital to take his father home. Grace tries to talk to him, but he ignores her and leaves. The next reverse day, Grace wakes up by her daughter's side and cries because she remembers that day very well. Lisa finds her crying and writes her a note in the diary that she had placed on Lisa's grave. Surprisingly, the diary had traveled to the past as well. It had all the notes and everything Grace had written to Lisa when she was growing up. Slowly, days are passing and Grace finds herself a day younger than before as she enjoys her time with her daughter. The movie then returns to the beginning where Lisa is becoming younger every day. Soon, Grace comes back to the day when Lisa was born. She holds her and cries in sadness, knowing she'll never get to see Lisa again. The next day, she wakes up to being 9 months pregnant. As she reverses in those 9 months, she manages to make peace with herself and starts living her life happily. But one day, Grace finds a letter at the back of the diary. She opens that envelope and finds out the letters from Park, who holds himself accountable for Lisa's death instead of his father. Now it's revealed that Park had visited the grave the same day as Grace and had placed a letter inside the diary after Grace had left. And when he met her in the parking lot before, he was shocked to see her bring one of the group members and feels even guiltier for putting Grace through this hell where she wants to murder herself. Grace decides to meet up with Park and tell him how they both decided to take themselves out in the future and how she's now living in reverse. She then tells him that she may have found a way to make her time move forward again. So the next day, after searching for hours, she finds the address of the last group member, Dwight, and goes to see him. Dwight reveals that his days are also moving backward and that this experience helped him make peace with his problem and is not depressed anymore. Then they decide to check up on Suna and see if she's experiencing the same thing. But weirdly, her life is normal. Grace and Dwight go to stop Suna in her office in the middle of signing a deal that was gonna bankrupt her and make her depressed. Grace tears that contract and tells Suna everything. The following day, Grace crosses paths with Park when he shows up to deliver some home-related furniture one day. Grace knows it's not the right time to reveal her identity yet, so she makes a fake excuse to take his card. The next day, with Grace now one day backwards, she uses Park's card and shows up at his workplace. She starts causing a scene and blames Park for the bad service she experienced. This causes Park to be fired from his job. He then goes back home with Grace following him. But when Park catches her stalking him, he asks who she is. She tells him that she's from the future, and he thinks she's a lunatic, so he leaves. When Grace wakes up another day in reverse, she goes to the moment where Park is at his job interview at the furniture mall. She meets him again and makes small talk with him and finds out that he has a shoulder injury. Because of this, Park thinks he'll not get the job, so to cheer him up, Grace takes him to a bar where she gets him drunk and shows him his name card from the future, telling him that he'll definitely get that job the next day. That night, Grace comes home and looks up Park on the internet and finds out he was a successful Taekwondo fighter who got a shoulder injury and lost his career. This came as a great shock to his father, and he soon lost his sanity, causing Park to desperately look for a job. As Grace wakes up a few days backwards, she shows up at Park's training center and tries to stop him from fighting. Park doesn't listen to her and gets into that fight, dislocating his shoulder. That caused his father to have a stroke and he ends up becoming mentally unsound. Grace becomes fed up, so she goes to find Dwight again. He explains to her that they might be experiencing this strange reverse phenomena because they've passed away at the time of the meteor shower that night. He further tells her that the meteor shower will be happening again, and they would have to wait some more months to go back. Grace decides to go with his plan and murder herself on the night of the meteor shower. The day before this shower, she goes to see Park for the last time, but she finds his father instead, who hasn't gone insane yet. She apologizes to him and leaves, making him confused. She then goes to Park's school trying to find him, but he's out busy partying, so she doesn't meet him. She then gets on a bus to leave, but destiny unites her with Park inside there. She gives him her diary where she's been writing everything from the future. Park goes home, and upon reading that diary, he remembers every encounter with Grace. He then finds out about Grace's plan to kill herself that night and runs to save her, but it's too late. Grace jumps into the river and takes away her life. But fortunately, she wakes up in the present, where she hasn't been pregnant with Lisa yet. Her days start moving forward like they normally should. A year later, she gives birth to Lisa, crying out tears of joy, knowing that she has seen the future and can prevent her daughter from passing. Elsewhere, Park, who has Grace's diary, uses it as a guide, preventing himself from getting that shoulder injury. He excels in his career and lives a happy life with his mentally sound father. We want to thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe for more awesome recaps.